So yeah, so the agenda for the day is that we will be talking majorly about the spirits overall, that what are spirits and how are they made and stuff like that. What are the category and what are the different types of spirits that we have? We will be majorly dividing into a fewer categories itself. We're not going in very deep right now. And then, as I said, the cocktails, which actually are made, particularly the classic cocktails, which are made using those kind of spirits. And post that, we might do a small demonstration as well, depending on Mr. Deepak's mood. If he is happy, then he'll do a lot of cocktails. If he's not happy, he will not do a cocktail. And then, as I said, with regards to question and answers, just keep it very interactive. Just feel free, raise your hand, and we would actually go through it. What is spirits? In the easiest possible definition that I can or I thought of is that it's an elder brother of the alcohol family. Yeah. Basically, alcohol family would start with anything that is fermented, which is wines, your beverages, your beers, and stuff like that, and then move up to to an extent of spirits, and then it can even go to a level of liqueurs and fortified stuff and stuff like that. Yeah. Spirits are fermented, yes or no? Beer is also fermented, yes or no? No, beer is not fermented. एक मिनट थर्ड ईयर थे ना तुम सब तो beer is fermented. Beer is fermented, yes or no? Give me a yes or no. Yes, it is. Then how is it different from a spirit? Absolutely. So spirit is something which is first fermented and then it is distilled in order to increase the alcohol beverage volume or alcohol by volume, which we also call it as ABV. So that is primarily a spirit. Fermentation, we all know what is fermentation. Yeah. Fermentation, we all know what is fermentation. Cool. Fermentation is nothing. It's basically any kind of sugar or starch along with the yeast getting converted into alcohol. Yeah. And during that process, it also releases a lot of carbon dioxide. Yeah. Which we release to the air. Distillation, on the other hand, is a process where we distill further distill the fermented liqueur itself. One, in order to increase the alcohol content. Second, in order to get the water out and increase the potency of the liquid. Yeah. In fact, the spirits which are made at the first beginning distillation process itself have the alcohol volume of anywhere between 85 to even 96% alcohol. Then, of course, we cut it down and make it to 42%, what we usually consume in a whiskey or a vodka and stuff like that. Yeah? Cool? You with me? Super. And distillation can be done in two different ways, which is बहुत important question था ना ये तो second year में, which is pot still and patent still. So pot still is basically, as you can see, this is basically a method wherein a pot is on one side with a lot of flames on the ground, and then the liquid vaporizes and it goes to the different chamber, and then of course the liquid comes down using the cold water which is in the system itself, yeah, or it condenses down. However, in the patent still or the continuous still as we call it, it basically is mechanical. The pot still is more, where the human interaction or the human intervention is much higher. However, in a continuous still, once you start, it's a continuous still process. It is pure machine. That's there. Yeah. You had a question? So talking majorly about spirit, as we said, it is fermented plus distilled. Yeah. Just fermented doesn't make it. Just fermented is beer, wines and stuff. But when you ferment and distill, that's when you can call it a spirit. Yeah. The alcohol by volume, which is also known as ABV, is much higher compared to anything else in the alcohol family. Cool. So these are all the spirits that we will be talking about today. We'll go basically through the brief about the entire spirit section. Please feel free, as I said, just raise your hands in case you have any other questions. Or after this entire thing, in case you want to discuss about any other beverage or any other spirit, we'll be very happy to do that. Yeah? Sure, sir. Starting with vodka. What is vodka? Anyone? What is vodka? Spirit. उसी की तो बात कर रहे हैं. Spirit तो सब है. It's a colorless spirit. Cool. Which is also gin. Neutral spirit. So I'll tell you, neutral spirit is something which is also known as ENA. Neutral spirit is something that is just the base spirit. Now that can be utilized in a lot of different ways and functions and means. And depending how it is getting utilized is what the entire result or the end result is. So right now, talking particularly about vodka. Vodka actually comes from a Gaelic word with the name of voda, which is also means water of life. Yeah. Russian influencing is where it all began. The entire belt, Poland, Finland, that's the entire belt where it all started at the initial stages. But now vodka, as you know, is completely popular across the world. Vodka can be made with potatoes, corn, grains. So basically anything that has got either starch in it or it has got sugar in it can be converted in fermentation process into alcohol is something that we can use as the base for making any alcohol. Yeah? Super. So first and foremost, vodka is basically made with anything. Anybody can name vodka made with, let's say, a potato? Any potato vodka? Smirnoff is made out of potatoes. It's actually grains. Potatoes is absolute. Anybody can name the vodka made with grapes?
Grape.
Ciroc. Absolutely. Super. Classic cocktails with regards to vodka would be? Any classic cocktails that you made back in the college? Screwdriver. That's the first one that always comes to the mind. Moscow Mule. Absolutely. Absolutely. Third year? Second year. सीखो कुछ third year वालों. Ragging कर रहे हो बस. Oh, okay. Today also you making something? Next time you make, let us know, okay? We'll also come and try it. So yeah, the basic cocktails, the vodka classic cocktails are all there, cosmopolitan and stuff like that. Also, one thing that made vodka very popular back in the 90s or 80s, for that matter, was the shaken not stirred James Bond martini, which was made with vodka instead of a gin. Yeah? Any questions with regards to vodka? Anyone? Some of the brands of vodkas that we see here and in a lot of places, and some of the brands of vodkas other than this that you would want to mention, please feel free. Absolute, for sure. Charlie, nice. Any Indian vodkas that you want to name? Smoke is a new vodka that is from India. Smoke is made out of? Magic moments, for sure. Smoke is made out of? Potato, grain, grapes, rice, what? Aniseed is a flavor. So vodka, any vodka that you see are divided into two categories. One is the neutral vodka that you always have, and one is the flavored vodka category. Flavored vodka category can include any kind of flavors, from a raspberry, blueberry, to an aniseed, to anything, to even saffron for that matter. Yeah. So most of the vodkas that you see in India are basically, or the base spirit is in India, is basically made out of rice. Rice is something which is, in abundance in India, because of which rice is something that is being used in a lot of spirits. Yeah. So Sky Vodka from US, one of the most popular brands over there. Ciroc, as we discussed, is a vodka which is made with grapes, probably the most controversial one for that matter. Smirnoff, remember Smirnoff? Back in the days, that was the go-to vodka for all of us before the Absolute and the Magic Moments sort of took over. Grey Goose, again, a beautiful vodka made with wheat. Only the wheat that's getting, produced in Cognac region in France. Cognac, you remember? So Grey Goose vodka also comes from Cognac region itself. It uses the grapes, it uses the wheat from the Cognac region itself. Amsterdam is another new one that's coming to the market. I don't know if it is there in India as of now or not. Kettle One is again a brand under Diageo as a portfolio. A beautiful brand that is sort of underutilized as of now. And Tito's. Anybody heard about Tito's? I think it was the initial ones that actually came out and shouted loud about gluten-free vodkas. Very interesting story about how a man started this Tito's vodka, lost everything including family. The only one family member that was with him during these times was actually his dog. So today also, if you see, Tito's is always associated with anything to do with dogs for that matter. Yeah? Super. Before we move to gin, any questions with regards to vodka? What is beluga made out of? I think it's made out of wheat itself, but I can check. Beluga is basically a sturgeon fish family. Caviar, remember? सबने पढ़ा होगा 17 goes Dagostasi. So it's a very creamy sort of vodka, and that's what they kind of utilize that as a USP. Yeah.
Expensive one also.
Yeah, an expensive one. For sure. Any other questions? We can move on from vodka. No? Vodka is also known as wife's deceiver. Suna hai kabhi? Wife's deceiver. Since a lot of people say that it is colorless, odorless, and tasteless, but I would definitely want to say over here, practically speaking, vodka is not, it is of course colorless, but not odorless or not tasteless. Every vodka has got something or the other to offer, and particularly when you do a blind tasting of 5 or 7 different vodkas together, that's when you'll realize what is one vodka has that another one doesn't. Like, for example, a Grey Goose, you would find an orange tinge on the vodka. Probably in a Ciroc, you would find a little more sweetness, and a Sky would be a little more sharp. Yeah? Gin. What is gin? It's flavored vodka. बेइज्जती कर दी जिन की तुमने. Yeah. Sir. Yeah, gin was back in the days made actually for medicinal purposes. In fact, a lot of alcohol was actually made for medicinal purposes. But then we realized that we need more medicines, everyday life basis as well. So gin is nothing. Gin is basically a neutral spirit again, but it has to have juniper in the body, other than the botanical that it has. So that's juniper for you. In fact, some of the best juniper actually comes from the globe. But you'll be surprised to know there is another Indian gin which is using juniper used from Himalayan region itself. Would you know the name of the gin? Hapusa. What does Hapusa mean? Anyone? Hapusa is a gin from which part? Which part of India for that matter? Huh? No, so they use the juniper berries from Himachal, but the gin is actually made in Goa. So it's from the same company with the name of Now Spirits. They have a greater than gin and they have a Hapusa. So Hapusa is basically a Sanskrit term for juniper berry. And that's how they came out with the name of Hapusa, and they're using Himalayan junipers. So the first photograph that you see, that's actually the actual juniper on the trees or on the plants for that matter. And the lower one that you see is basically the dried juniper that we usually use to flavor the alcohol. Oh, you have the junipers? There you go, guys. So that's the juniper. You want to smell, taste? I'm allowed to do that, right? Please circulate it, and you can make everyone taste. Yeah. In fact, you can press one of those as well, and you would see a beautiful oil coming out with a lot of intense flavor. Yeah. Don't worry, you can bite. It's okay. You won't die. You work for a gin company, sir? Which one? Oh, you supply it. And you're getting this juniper from Himalayan region itself? Fantastic. Yeah. Oh, okay. The Delhi Sapphire that they did. Ah, fantastic. Fantastic. Interesting, huh? Like black pepper? Yeah. Family could be the same, yeah. It's basically a berry end of the day, yeah? Super. Can we give it back? Super. Thank you very much, sir. I think that was very helpful for all of us. So yeah, so gin is basically juniper. In fact, if you see the name gin also is actually derived from one of these words, Genever as we call in Old English, Genever in French, or Genever in Dutch, which basically meant juniper, and when it got converted to the regular English, over a period of time, it was called as gin. Yeah? There are three basic kinds or three basic types of gin that is usually made in the world right now. One is a compound gin. As we mentioned about some vodka being flavored with juniper and other botanicals. Now that is something you will put in the compound category. Normally a compound category is something which is one, easy to make, second, not very expensive. So they're not some of the best gins in the world for that matter. Then of course, as you already know about the patent still and the pot still, depending on what kind or what quality of gin are you trying to make, you would ideally go either in a pot still or a patent still. Yeah, you would not really find a lot of gins right now which are very popular under the category of compound because they're not considered to be one of the best gins ever. Yeah, but if you see, the gin revolution in India has been really, really strong of lately. Do you want to name some new brands, craft gins that are there in India? Terai. Terai is a beautiful gin. What else?
Probably it's a new name, Indian Goon. Yes, I have seen the
Indian Goon. Yeah, so Juniper Bomb is basically a limited edition of Greater Than itself, wherein they said that Greater Than has got, let's say, 30% Juniper, but a Juniper Bomb has got almost 70% of Juniper. So the Juniper is something that really comes out and becomes very, very strong. Yeah, other gins, other Indian gins, guys, come on! Other Indian gins, any names? Any other, okay, any gin names that you would know? Bombay Sapphire. Jodhpur.
London Dry.
Jodhpur is a gin from? Tanqueray. Tanqueray and Tanqueray 10, another portfolio of Diageo. Again, a beautiful gin. Jodhpur is a gin from? Spain. They use ajwain as one of the flavorings. It's pretty interesting, right? Gordon's. That's where we all started, right?
Yeah.
Gordon's. Other than that, also, if you really go out and you are kids right now, you are going out. Most of you would want to do something of your own. You should check out a lot of gins which are coming from Goa right now, and these guys are making it themselves. So right from Samsara to Greater Than, both the gins, to Tickle Gin. There are a lot of new gins which are coming into the market. Terai also has been a fantastic gin that has really come out. Yeah. So, anyways, overall, when you see gin, there are two ways majorly to make it: either to distill the gin with the botanicals and everything else, or a compound gin, which is basically a flavored vodka. Yeah. So, gin types. Everybody has read about London Dry style. So London Dry gin does not only come from London, it can come from anywhere in the world. Yeah? It's just a style of gin that we have right now. It originated in England but produced all over the world. Beefeater, Tanqueray, Bombay Sapphire, as we were discussing, is all London Dry gin. Yeah? So if you want to call yourself as a London Dry gin, you cannot add any artificial flavor to it. Yeah, all the botanicals, all the the flavors have to come naturally during the distillation process. Yeah, otherwise it will be coming under the category of a compound gin. Yeah. In terms of botanicals, these are some of the most common botanicals, but there is no end to it, guys. As I said, there is a gin coming from Spain known as Jodhpur and using ajwain in it. Yeah, and they particularly mention it. So sky is the limit. You can actually use any kind of flavoring that you want. In fact, I would highly suggest you, just don't quote me or don't use my name, but feel free, go back home, take out some vodkas, steep them in juniper berries and a couple of flavorings that you can do, and probably overnight or keep it for a couple of days, and you'll actually see some gins getting made at your houses. Don't sell it, okay? Otherwise you'll be in jail. Cool. So these are major, most of the common flavors or common this thing that is getting used. Juniper, as I said, you already know, that is something which is mandatory. Other than that, angelica, sage, caraway, seeds, rosemary, nutmeg, these are all the flavors. Most of the gin bottles that you would see would also mention all the botanicals that they're actually putting in the gin. Yeah? Bombay Sapphire has 5 years and 5 years. I think there are 10 botanicals that are mentioned on both the sides. Yeah? Cool. In terms of the cocktails, there are a lot of interesting cocktails. Actually, martini, the classic martini, is made with using gin. Please.
Why Why is it called dry gin?
Any answers? Why is it called dry gin? Huh?
Because of more alcohol. Yes.
Okay, that is one of the reasons. Anybody else? Huh? Let me introduce you, Mr. Arpit. He was the one who was my third year, and he was the one who actually taught me. So all thanks to him that I'm standing over here.
So basically, dry is the word which is used for fika, right? Which is unsweetened. So if something is not sweetened, that is basically in beverage language we call dry. Am I right?
Now, so basically, dry is that word that usually gets used everywhere, particularly in the beverage segment, which gives you the sensations of a little dryness at the edges. If it is not sweetened, it will be dry. It's with all alcohol. Oh, you mean London Dry Gin? Why is it London Dry Gin? That I'll have to go back to the books. It's just a category that is known as London Dry Gin. So, yeah. Plymouth, yeah, that's another category. There's another category with the name of Plymouth, but that's, I'll tell you, surprisingly, there's only one distillery in the world in England that can actually make a gin called as Plymouth. So there are different categories, but London Dry Gin is just a London Dry Gin as a category. And since there's nothing sweet added to it, I think probably that is the reason. If you add anything in terms of the gin, in terms of flavoring, sweeteners, anything, then it goes under the category of a compound or anywhere else. Then you cannot call it London Dry. Yeah? However, another thing that I really want to talk about, and you guys should definitely focus about, is gin and tonics. Gin and tonics has suddenly become very popular across the globe. Particularly in India, they're gaining a lot of momentum. Any gin and tonic, or rather any tonic brands you would want to mention? What is tonic? Anyone? Absolutely. It's flavored soda with quinine. Anything else? Tonic water. Anybody? Sepoy and Company. Absolutely. That's another beautiful tonic water from India, actually. Schweppes. That's a Pepsi brand. That's a very big brand of tonic. But yeah, globally, if you see, tonic waters have also gained a lot of popularity. And gin and tonics have actually become very popular of lately as well. Just to give you a small, quick story about gin and tonics. You know where was gin and tonic invented? Which part of the world? Anyone? Holland. Poland. Holland के ऊपर वाला? हाँ, Holland, Poland. हाँ, मैं दोनों ले लिया आपका. Holland भी, Poland भी. आप दोनों में से कोई भी जीता तो I'll give you the prize. Anywhere else, guys? Where was gin and tonic invented? Come on. 3rd years, yeah? Huh? England. Okay. Where else? No, it's not the right answer. It was actually invented in India. Gin and tonics were actually invented in India. It's quite surprising, isn't it? And I'll tell you a quick small story about it, right? During the the 80s and 90s, during the independence, before independence, there were a lot of Indian soldiers and British soldiers who were actually working on the lines, right? They used to have, because of the mosquitoes, they used to get a lot of malaria, and quinine is actually one of the cures of malaria. Yeah. So quinine is a medicine that they use. This is basically a powder that is scraped out of a bark of a cinchona bark. Cinchona is the name of the tree, which used to come either from the Bay of Bengal or the Peru region. Peru, South America. Yeah. Huh? Acha, okay. ऐसे? अब ठीक है? Okay, done. So yeah, so that was getting mixed with water. And since it was very bitter, it was really bitter, they used to add a little bit of lime and sweeten it with the sugar and then give it and call it tonic, because normally when the doctor gives you a medicine, it calls it tonic as well, right? So that's how it actually started. And because gin was getting into the rations of these guys and they wanted to get a little high as well, so they started adding gin to it. That is how the gin and tonic cocktail was invented around Bengal area. Yeah. The tonic water company with the name of Sepoy & Co. is actually, a tribute to that story itself, because the Sipahis were called as Sepoys. Now that is where the name actually came from. Another beautiful tonic water in the world is known as Fever Tree. Heard about it? Fever Tree? Okay, so again the name comes because the tree was where the quinine was getting scraped out was actually known as fever tree, because a lot of people, whenever you have a fever, you run to that particular tree, take that scrape it out, mix it with water and drink it. Yeah, cool, interesting. Yes, sir. So yeah, gin and tonics is something that I would definitely want you guys to focus on going forward when you get into the hotels, restaurants, bars and stuff like that. You would have to experiment with a lot of gin and tonics, yeah? And again, the world is pretty big when it comes to gin and tonics. Other than that, there are a lot of interesting and beautiful classic cocktails globally which have now become the legends in itself. Negroni, heard about it, Negroni? Yeah, that's a cocktail based with gin. It's a beautiful cocktail, legendary cocktail. You can have it globally for that matter. Singapore Sling, another one that has got a beautiful story from Raffles Hotels in Singapore, wherein the bartender made this Singapore Sling and it just became so popular across the globe. Yeah, and of course the Vesper Martini. Remember the Vesper Martini? 007, Mr. Bond, who came back to gins again after traveling to vodkas, shaken not stirred. Yeah, cool. Any questions with regards to gin?
As you said, we add juniper berries, then it makes gin. So if we add juniper berries in the whiskey or other spirits, so that can also be a gin, right or not? Why it's
So gin is a neutral spirit. Whiskey neutral नहीं रहेगी ना? Whiskey में you already added you basically, what is whiskey? Whiskey is also neutral spirit, and then you put it in the bourbons or you put it in the oak barrels. Absolutely. तो base alcohol हो गया. Base alcohol के अंदर अगर आप add करोगे तो it's not whiskey yet, right? So before it becomes whiskey, it is a spirit. In the neutral spirit, if you don't add anything, then it becomes a vodka. If you add juniper, then it becomes a gin. That's what I'm saying. Everything is base ENA. You're absolutely right. Everything is base ENA. But to call it whiskey, it has to be aged in an oak barrel for at least 3 years to be called as Scotch. And of course, we will get into the details. Yeah. Age करने के बाद उसमें juniper मत डालना. बड़ा awkward taste आएगा. Yeah. Cool. Done. Super. Any other question?
Sir, I want to ask that in your experience, what kind of flavor combinations have you tried with gin and tonic? Like I know one which is an Asian gin and tonic which I've tasted with kaffir lime. So any more interesting combinations if you could share with us?
I think very interesting question. It completely depends on what style of gin are you taking. Yeah. If you're taking, let's say, a gin, as I said, Jodhpur with ajwain as a base, I would want to play with, so this is basically a warm spice that you're getting. So it's a spicy gin that you're trying to pick up. I would want to play around with more citrus flavors. So let's say, there are 3 things that you can really play with when it comes to gin and tonics. One is any herb. So rosemary, thyme, wherever, any kind of herb, even tulsi for that matter. I know it's a little controversial, but basil is what we call it in English. So we can use that. The second is the fruits, any kind of fruit. So for example, if I'm picking up a gin which has got more warm spices in it, I would want to pick up a fruit like a grapefruit. If I am going for, let's say, a more citrus gin, wherein the gin is more citrus, then the flavors that I would pick up would be more on the lines of, let's say, an apple cinnamon, so that they balance out really, really well. Yeah? And then the third is basically the flowers. Again, there is a lot of, in terms of the flowers that you can also play around with. So please feel free, use fruits, flowers and herbs to really play around with all the gin and tonic flavors. Also, there are a lot of these tonic waters which have now come out with a lot of flavored tonic waters. Now again, depending on what kind of gin that you're picking up, it goes really well with the particular kind of tonic water that you can pick. And I think that's the most easiest and the most smartest thing to do, that you pick up a good gin, pick up a flavored tonic water, and your cocktail as gin and tonic with a particular flavor is already ready. Yeah? Answers your question? Anything else? Any gin questions? Perfect. Tequila. Tequila, only known for shots, right? Tequila shots, nothing else. Tequila is basically a distilled spirit which is made from agave plant. Ever heard about agave plant? Yeah? And tequila comes from? Mexico, absolutely. Only produced in designated areas of Mexico. In fact, there are only a few areas, and one of the most popular areas in Mexico is Jalisco. But they write it as J because J is silent. Jalisco is one of the most popular areas, particularly for producing. Yeah, coming back to the point. So only produced in designated areas in Mexico. Yeah, tequila cannot be produced anywhere else. Are there any agave plants in India? Yes or no? Yes or no? Huh? No idea, sir. That's a better answer. Yes, there actually are. There are a couple of agave spirits which are getting produced in India as well. I don't think I have that on the sheet right now, but I'll be happy to again talk about it a little later. Yeah, I'll show you what an agave. Also, only if you're using blue agave in certain areas and we're producing an agave spirit, then it can be called as tequila. Otherwise, it can be called as mezcal. Mezcal is another thing that you might not have a lot in the books, but that's something which is gaining a lot of popularity across the globe, particularly with the bartenders, because mezcal becomes a younger brother or an elder brother to tequila. Yeah, and that's getting utilized a lot in cocktails globally for that matter. It's a little rough on the edges. It is also made with agave. It is also made in Mexico, but it's like champagne and sparkling wines. Yeah, a champagne is a sparkling wine, but a sparkling wine isn't champagne. Similarly, a tequila is a mezcal, but a mezcal is not a tequila. Yeah, if I am making it over here and call it Jalisco with the blue agave, then it is tequila. If I get out of here and I made with any other kind of agave plant, then it is called as mezcal. Yeah, please Google it before you go to the Instagram for checking out the stories. Yeah. So that's agave plantation. If you see, the agaves are quite big and the plantations are, pretty much endless. We'll just discuss about the process as well, how it is different than, any other spirit for that matter. But this is what agave looks like. In fact, in the plateau or rather under the belts of Rajasthan is where agave is again getting produced in India as well. There is a company with the name of Desmond G. They have started with something known as I said, you cannot call it tequila, right? So what they are calling this particular spirit is an agave spirit. They're not calling it tequila. Legally, you cannot call it. So agave spirit is what they're calling it right now. In fact, there are 2 new companies as well who are already working on the same, and they would be out very soon from India, which will be agave spirit compared to a tequila from the world. Yeah. Basic process in terms of producing tequila is that first and foremost you get the agave. You sort of take out the wrappers, you take out the leaves and stuff like that, and then the shredding happens. So after the shredding, so this is a shredded agave. This is a shredded agave. This is also a shredded agave. If you see, the agave is actually under the ground itself, and you can only see the leaves outside. But when you take it out completely, then the agave comes out, and then these guys shred it from all the sides so that we do not get a lot of bitter oils from the outside leaves. Yeah. So the shredding happens, and then the extraction happens by cooking. Now, by cooking, what I mean is that these big agave plants are actually broken into pieces. And then they are put into a cooking chamber. And what happens in the cooking chamber is that they become very soft, and then the juices start to flow out. So that's where the cooking happens. And after the cooking, when we get the first ferment or the first juice out, that particular juice goes into the fermenting tank. It gets fermented, like the way we were discussing about other beverages as well. So that gets fermented, and then it gets distilled. Now what you've got is basic tequila or a basic spirit, which is called as tequila or a mezcal. And then the filtration happens, and then the aging. Now aging can depend from what kind of tequila you want to produce. Do you want to produce a basic tequila, or do you want to produce an anejo or a reposado? We will be talking about that as well. Yeah? And tagging. Branding. Yeah, of course. Most important step. So then the aging happens. Aging, as I said, completely depends on what kind of tequila you want to have as an end result. And then the blending happens. Now the blending could be done from the previous batches of tequila that you already have, or it could be done with different distilleries or different batches that you have already collected. Now try and understand that agave is a natural plant. Yeah, every single time you might not get exact same flavors. However, as a company, when you come out, let's say today we say Black Label. every single time a black label should taste same because that's a brand. Similarly, in terms of the tequila as well, the reason they do blending is to make sure that the flavors are matching. Sometimes the rainfall happens more, sometimes the rainfall is less, because of which the flavors can differ and can change. Yeah, cool. Any questions in terms of the process? No? Any questions in terms of the process? Super. With regards to the different styles of tequila that we were discussing, the first and foremost is a silver tequila, wherein the tequila is not aged at all or maximum till 60 days, just to kind of give it a little rest and make it smoother and mellower, but nothing more than 60 days. Yeah? You can leave Jovan because we don't get a lot of Jovan in India. Then we talk about Reposado. Reposado is under a month. A few months to about 1 year is what you do with regards to the Reposado. Then comes Anejo. Anejo basically means year. Minimum when the tequila is aged for 1 year, that's when we can actually call it Anejo, which is at least for 1 year when you age the tequila. And Extra Anejo, as you can read it easily, it's at least for 3 years in terms of aging. Yeah? Cool? Huh? Barrel can be used. Barrel, oak barrel. Absolutely. The barrels can be used again and again depending on the style of tequila that you want to make. You can use sherry barrels also. You can use bourbon barrels also. You can even use Burgundy barrels. Burgundy is a wine from France. So those barrels also can be used. Normally, in terms of, if you really get into the depth, normally the kind of barrels that they use is a mix of new oak and old oak. What new oak in terms of the barrels, guys, very important, very important. Sometimes most of these companies use new oak and old oak. So for example, if they want to use 100 barrels in a year, they would want to use, let's say, 25 of them as new oak and 75 as old oak. What happens with that is that the new oak gives a lot of sharpness to the liquid, but the old oak gives a lot of mellowness to the liquid. And then they finally blend it after aging in both different oaks. And those barrels could be, as I said, either a sherry barrel or a bourbon barrel or a whiskey barrel or any other barrel. Yeah. With regards to the tequila in terms of cocktails, there are enough and more cocktails. However, one of the most iconic cocktail from tequila is Margarita. Martini is gin and vodka. Yeah, Margarita. Cool. Any questions, guys? Super. Now let's come to the most interesting one. Whiskey. Yeah? Okay, whiskey sunte hi वापस आ गए सारे. That's amazing. Which is the most whiskey consuming country in the world? Not US, not Japan, not Russia. The most consuming whiskey country in the world. कौन सी ऐसी कंट्री है जहां पे सबसे ज्यादा विस्की पी जाती है ग्लोबली? स्कॉटलैंड, इंग्लैंड, कुछ नहीं? इंडिया? इंडिया? Like Punjab. No, you're actually right. India is the most whiskey consuming, it's the highest whiskey consuming market in the world right now, which is quite interesting. In fact, if you Google the top 10 whiskey selling brands in the world, 4 out of the 10 is actually Indians. Yeah? Absolutely. Officer's Choice is one of them. Cool. So what is a whiskey, guys? What is a whiskey? It's distilled alcoholic beverage. As we all discussed, it is also distilled alcoholic beverage that is made from fermented grain mash and various grains. It could be barley, it could be corn, it could be rye, it could be wheat, depending on the kind of style of whiskey that you want. Yeah? It could be a blend of 2 different malts as well. Yeah? Typically aged in wooden cask or generally made out of charred oak, yeah, from the inside. Cool? The word whiskey, actually a classic Gaelic word, say whiskey actually came out, which literally translates into water. Yeah? Aquavite is also something that we call whiskey, which is water of life. Whiskey was also made for medicinal purposes earlier, but then we realized that it is better than a medicine, and we started drinking it in a daily basis. And in Scotland, the whiskey dates back to even 1494, which is way, 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 way ago. In fact, with regards to the Indian connection, if you really see, the first distillery in India was set up actually in Solon. And the reason of setting up in Solon was, anyone? Solon whiskey. हाँ, सोलन तो मेरे को पता है हिमाचल में है. Because of the low temperature, but the low temperature is there in a lot of places in India. Why only Solon? The question is, why was, please chef.
Britishers have all their tracks and their area based in Shimla and Solon.
Absolutely. That's also one of the right answers. Solon had two things that they were supposed to. हाँ वो लिखा हुआ है तो पढ़ा क्यों नहीं? So there are two answers to it. One, Solon was the summer capital for all the Britishers, and it was very well connected across the country. Second also is because Solon, the quality of water is really, really good. And if you see any particular spirit that you see, as I said, after the first distillation, gives you an alcohol content of almost 85 to 96%. And then you add water in it, and then the alcohol comes down. Then you dilute it basically, right? Something like, heard about Glenfiddich, Glenlivet, Glenmorangie, and so many Glens. What is Glen in it? बताओ भाई, कल पढ़ाया था. Close. Glen is basically the name of the river. So that's where the water comes from. Yeah. So water is very important when it comes to any alcoholic beverage for that matter. Beer, it has about 70 to 80% water. Whiskey would have at least 40 to 50% of water. So Solon was one of the places where the water quality was really, really good. Yeah? Basic process, preparation. Yeah? You basically take out all the wheat, rye or corn or whatever depending on the whiskey. Then you mash it. Then you ferment the entire mash. And then the distillation happens. You guys had this question, I'm sure. Second year. When we do the mashing and the liquid comes out, which is yet to be going to the fermenting tank, what is it known as? WORT, what? Which is basically nothing else but a beer. Yeah? If you really see it. And then it goes to the fermentation tank, then the distillation, and then the aging happens. Aging is, I think, one of the most crucial elements, and that sort of defines what a whiskey will be eventually. And then finally the bottling. Yeah? So that's pretty much the process. Any questions? That is malting and germination of basically the malts that we are collecting. That's where the mashing happens. Those are the fermentation tanks. Now the fermentation tanks can be wooden, can also be made out of stainless steel. It completely depends again, what style of whiskey are you looking at. Normally a wooden tank would give you more matured styles of whiskies, but normally if you see the stainless steel tanks, they will give you more fresh, more crisper sort of whiskies. Yeah. Pot still, patent still. Yeah, it completely depends what style of whiskey are you. However, in some of the, or rather most of the regions, you have to do distill the whiskey only in pot stills. Yeah, the legendary ones. And then of course there is patent still, which is continuous distillation. And then the maturation happens on, in different oak barrels. It could again be, reused oak barrels or new oak barrels depending on the style of whiskey that you're making. Yeah. In fact, another new fad in the entire single malt of the whiskey trade is that they will keep whiskey in, let's say, a sherry cask or a Oloroso cask for 15 months, and for the rest of the 15 months they would want to keep it, let's say, in a bourbon cask. Now what it does is that it gives different flavors from a sherry and different flavors from a bourbon. And then the whiskey that you get is much more complex in nature. Yeah? Super. And then of course, the most important, bottling. Types. Malt whiskey. What is a malt whiskey? Malt whiskey is made out of malts. That's a very generic answer. Huh? Absolutely. So malt whiskey is basically, when you want to call it a malt whiskey, it has to be one type of grains that are getting used. Grain whiskey is made out of any type of grain that we have in the base. What is a single malt? Single malt is one single malt or one single grain coming out of one single distillery itself. Yeah? However, if I am combining same grain of two different distilleries, then I can still call it a malt, but I cannot call it a single malt. Yeah? Clear? Super. And in terms of the blended malt whiskey, it's basically a mixture of different whiskeys. Yeah? One of the most popular blended malt whiskey is blended, which one? Red Label, Black Label, those are all blended whiskeys. Chivas Regal, those are all blended whiskeys. Yeah? Cool. Okay, American whiskey. How is it different than the Scottish whiskey or the whiskeys coming from anywhere else in the world? And we'll just go through it. So whiskey is basically distilled, made out of cereal grains. Bourbon, American whiskey, maybe there are different styles of whiskeys that we have. The first and the most popular one is a bourbon whiskey. So in bourbon whiskey, the total mash that goes inside the whiskey has to be at least 51% corn. And then it could be wheat, rye or anything else. But the minimum amount of the basic that goes in has to be 51% of corn to be called as a bourbon whiskey. In terms of the corn whiskey, if you want to call it a corn whiskey, it has to have at least 80% of the corn. Cool? Perfect. With regards to malt whiskey, the mash that consists of 51% of malted barley, then it can be called as a malted whiskey. And in terms of rye whiskey, the mash has to have more or less at least 51% of rye. How is a corn whiskey or a bourbon whiskey different than a rye whiskey? Anybody? In terms of the flavors? Batao, third year. How is a corn whiskey or a bourbon whiskey different than rye whiskey in terms of the flavors? Tukke maro, tukke. Creamy flavor. Which one has more creamy? Corn. Corn would have creamy flavor. Absolutely. What else? Rye whiskey is more dry. Almost same. It might not be a lot in terms of dryness because the sweetness index is almost the same. Anything else? Come on. Rye whiskey. Anything that has got rye as a base is usually much more spicier. So when you want to make a whiskey which is very complex, what you do is add probably 20% of rye in a bourbon whiskey to make it very complex. But if you're really just having rye whiskey, it's a very spicy and a beautiful whiskey. Yeah? Canadian whiskey, it has to be produced and aged only in Canada to be called as Canadian whiskey. Yeah? Distilled has to be from a fermented mash of cereal grains, and it has to be aged in wooden barrels. So normally the wooden barrels that you see globally, the standard wooden barrels is about 300 to 400 liters barrels. The Canadian barrels specifically are 700 liters, which is just, it is. What happens because of that? Anyone? Let's say if there is one whiskey that you and I are making, and we put one batch in a 360 liter barrel, and we put the same batch in a 700 liter for 3 years. What difference would it make, let's say, after 3 years? Packaging is separate. Huh? Taste mein farak aayega. What kind of difference? Absolutely. Absolutely. So it completely depends on the wood exposure. So in the 300 liter barrel, लीकेज नहीं होती है विस्की में उड़ती है विस्की, जिसको हम बोलते हैं एंजल शेयर, राइट? No, so the transportation does not happen. So try and understand, when we are aging the whiskey, it is still in the distillery. Once you're done aging, you will take it out, put it in the bottles for transportation. So I'm just trying to understand or trying to ask you that what is the difference when it comes to the same whiskey in a 300 liter barrel for 3 years and the same whiskey in a 700 liter barrel for 3 years? Absolutely, flavor will be different, but what would be what? I'll tell you, 300 liters, like you rightly mentioned, 300 liters, the wood exposure to the whiskey is much higher, and 700 liter barrel, the wood exposure to every single drop of whiskey is much lower, comparatively, right? So this one is going to be more woody. This one is going to be a 300 liter barrel, will be more woody. It'll have more, notes of vanilla or more notes of chocolate or more notes of leather compared to a whiskey which is, been aged in a 700 liter barrel, wherein the whiskey, the exposure of the whiskey to the entire barrel is much lesser. Yeah? Got it? Any confusion? Yes or no? Super. Irish whiskies are normally distilled, at least distilled 3 times, if not more. Yeah, there are some whiskies which are even getting distilled 12 times, but at least 3 times as per the government norms. Traditionally using pot stills or the column still now getting used, but again that's majorly for the blends or for the grain whiskies that they're making. Yeah. By law, Irish whiskey must be produced in Ireland and aged in wooden cask for a period of not less than 3 years. Yeah. In terms of Scotch, it's usually generally distilled twice, but it can be distilled, as I said, as many times itself. People even go, as I said, to 12 to 15 times in terms of distillation, depending on what is the kind of purity that you want at the end of the day. Minimum maturation in the oak cask has to be 3 years. Yeah, even for the Scotch. And any age statement of the bottle, would you know? So let's say a Glenfiddich says 12 years on the age. What is the minimum liquid or the minimum aging of any liquid that has gone in inside? What does it mean? 12 years. Huh? So let's say there are 5 whiskies that are going in a blended whiskey, black label, and it says 12 years. What does 12 years mean? कि 12 साल पहले फूल तोड़ा था? What does 12 years mean? I'm asking you. Aging. Aging would mean क्या कि ये वाली जो whiskey है, इसको हमने 12 साल के लिए age किया. Is that what you're trying to say? So the whiskey is 12 years old. Distillery is 12 years old. The number of liquids that are put into it to blend it. Okay, now. तुम तो third year में हो. Okay, so I'll tell you guys, listen very carefully. This is very important. It gets confusing at times. If it says lucky draw. Okay, if it says 12 years on the bottle, and if it has, let's say, 20 whiskies which are combined together or blended together to make this, it means the minimum aging of any liquid that is going inside the bottle is 12 years. However, the maximum could be 50 years also. All of them, at least 12 years has been aged. So for example, if I'm making a blended whiskey, and let's say there are 5 different whiskies, 5 different single malts going together to make a blended blended malt, then the minimum that any one of those have been aged is 12 years. Then only I can write the word or write the number as 12. Otherwise I cannot. Yeah? And there is a possibility that 20 years old, 25 years old is also gone in the same bottle. Got it? Clear? Cool. Scotch whiskey without an age statement. So if any Scotch whiskey does not have an age statement, how old is it? Minimum 3 years. I'll tell you another interesting thing. Blue Label is very expensive and a very, sought after whiskey, right? How old is it? What is the age statement on Blue Label? And Blue Label is compared with Royal Salute, right? Royal Salute is 21 years old, it writes on the bottle. Blue Label की bottle पे क्या लिखा होता है? How many years old? 16? No. Anyone? 20? No. No. Exactly. Blue Label does not have any age statement on the bottle, which actually means that the lowest or the easiest whiskey that has been added in the blend could be only 3 years old. But it's a very expensive whiskey. Quite controversial. Blue Label always says that it is our blend that needs to work out. Black Label, Chivas and other things, they always have an age statement on the whiskey. Yeah? Cool? Super. So Scotch whiskies are majorly divided into different regions. We will not get into the regions, but again, after this we can speak about it. Highlands, Lowlands, Islay, Speyside and Campbelltown. Any whiskey that you find as very smoky is coming from which region? Islay. Islay is one of the regions which gives you the most smokiest whiskies. Highland, Lowlands are the regions which give you more powerful aromas of caramel and more powerful aromas of spices. Yeah? No, we are not doing whiskey tasting. Some of the cocktails, Manhattan, whiskey smash, whiskey sour. Whiskey sour में क्या जाता है non-vegetarian? Egg white. If I don't want to use egg white and the guest is vegetarian, what do? जुगाड़ क्या है? Pineapple juice. Here's an experienced man talking. Mint julep, Sazerac, old fashioned I think is one of the most sought after cocktails for that matter. Rum. Regular use medicine. Sardi, jukam, khasi, rum. So rum, how is it different than anything else? It's basically the juice that we're using is made out of sugar cane instead of grains or instead of any other fruits. Yeah? So molasses or sugarcane juice is what we're using it. It's a clear liquid which is then aged in oak barrels to make it dark. Yeah? Caribbean and American countries are where most of the rums are consumed. However, Philippines and India are also getting very popular purely because of the amount of sugarcane that we have in the system. In terms of the process, you take the sugarcane, you use the sugarcane into molasses, and the molasses goes in and gets heated up, and then it goes to the fermentation tanks. Similar to the fermentation that happens in the other categories, similarly the fermentation happens over here, and then it goes to the pot still or patent still. Now in a normal scenario, in a rum case, majority of the rums are made in patent still. Anyone could tell me why not pot stills? It does not actually require anything. Basically, pot still gets utilized when we are adding some botanicals for gin, or we are adding something in terms of the, to smoothen the, exactly. Here it is purely a commercial process, so patent still is something that works really well for rums as well. Yeah. So there are some rums, very high-end ones, which are actually doing pot still, but majority of them are patent still right now. So that's how the distillation happens. Then it goes directly to the maturation tanks, and then it's getting matured or aged, and then the final rum comes out. So major types of rum, it actually is categorized as per the color, for that matter. The first one is the white or clear rums, which is the most consumed rums across the globe. Bacardi White is something that is so popular. And of course there are a lot of other companies as well. In fact, Angostura rums is something that is also very good, and it should come very soon to India. Old Monk dark mein aayegi, dark and black. Yeah? And then golden or pale, which are somewhere in the middle. Bacardi Oko is something that again became very popular in this particular category. And usually the most expensive ones, or the ones which are sought after, which is also called as sipping rums, is something that comes under the category of dark and black. Yeah? So white and clear rum, usually they're aged for a year or more and filtered again to remove the color. Nothing more than that, because you don't need enough when it comes to white. Normally, what is a Cuba Libre? Cuba Libre, anyone? The cocktail Cuba Libre? White rum mixed with Coke. So if you have to mix Coke with anything, better not work on it too much, because it's going to get screwed. Bartender favorite for mixing in the other ingredients, that's purely because it is very neutral, it is simple, and it can absorb a lot of flavors, because of which it becomes bartender's favorite. Bacardi Superior, Ruberai, Don Crystal, Mount Gay, 10 Cane, these are some of the famous brands across the globe. In terms of golden or pale, now what happens over here, it actually gets mellowed in the bottle. So if you pick up a Bacardi White and you directly taste it, it will be very sharp on the edges. But if you pick up, let's say, a Dawn Cold or One Barrel, it will be much more mellow. And the reason it will be mellow is purely because it has seen some kind of aging on the barrels. Yeah? Because of which it kind of gets the roundness to it. The flavor profile is obviously much higher than the white ones or the clear rums, but much lower when it comes to be comparing with the dark rums. Yeah? In terms of the dark rums, as we all expected, the aging happens in the barrel for a much longer time. And the reason is because they want to capture most of the flavors from the barrels. Again, very important. What kind of barrels you use depends, it actually defines what kind of rum you make. Now, if you take the old barrels from sherry, cask, if you take the old barrels from bourbon cask, or if you want to take old barrels from Burgundy. Now, that will define what kind of or what quality of rum you want to make. Yeah. So if you see most of the alcohol that we have spoken about in terms of spirits, one of course is the ingredient that's there, which is common. Then of course it is fermentation and distillation. But one of the most important steps as a master distiller, or as a chef for that matter, making the whiskey or making the thing, is what kind of or what quality of barrels are you using. So that's very, very important. Yeah. It's darker, it's full flavor in terms of the profile, and that is the reason we call it sipping rums, wherein you do not add coke to these kind of rums. Yeah, you just sip them directly or make a cocktail out of it. Black rum, again, the dark or the black rum is somewhat on the similar category. However, what the difference between a black and a dark rum is that in a black rum you would see much more flavors of caramel and much more flavors of cocoa. Yeah, or much more stronger flavors for that matter compared to a dark rum. Yeah, a dark rum might give you a lot of spiciness, but a black rum will give you much more flavors of the molasses, which kind of gets converted into caramel. Cool. Any questions? And then there are certain premium aged rums which does not come under all three categories. These are just beautiful aged rums. These are just the showcasing of the master distiller or the master blender who kind of comes out and says, you know what, this is my signature. So for example, let's say a Zacapa. Ron Zacapa is a beautiful rum, yeah, which is doing a basic category rum, which is doing a good category rum. However, the master distiller comes out and says, I want to do a Santanero XO. XO is extra old. Extra old is a sherry. So the reason they have mentioned XO over here is because they're using the XO sherry barrels to age this rum to give it a new twist altogether. Yeah? Classic rum cocktails, a lot of them. Also, the entire range of tiki cocktails that you see is majority is coming from the rum category in terms of the cocktails itself. Any other cocktail you want to mention? The most popular cocktail in India? Mojito. These are some of the Captain Morgan is a spice rum. Havana Club is another beautiful rum. Bacardi, of course, you all know. Yeah. What is it? Old Monk? Where is Old Monk? Old Monk is over there. We will drink it afterwards. Old Monk comes under the category of dark rums itself. I mean, with all due respect, it's not one of the finest when it comes to the quality and the taste and stuff. But we all have memories with Old Monk. So, we all have a soft corner for Old Monk, if I may. Yeah?
Since you said that rum is made out of sugar molasses, does it have more calories?
Very important question. I've been asked this question a lot of times, which has more. So what happens is the sugar or the starch is getting converted into alcohol, right? Because of the usage of yeast. So usually, how you say? I'll come back. So the sugar is completely converted into alcohol, then only the fermentation process gets completed. So the calories are already taken out. If you see the calories in a rum compared to a vodka to a whiskey, they're almost, of course it has calories, but they're pretty much the same. Yeah, it's not that one has a lot. It depends on what do you mix up with it. So for example, in a Cuba Libre, you'll end up mixing Coke, which obviously is, sugar. Another thing, a lot of people tell me about the beer bellies, that, I drink a lot of beer because of the belly comes. The belly doesn't come out of the beer. It comes out with the chakna or the chicken tikka that you are having with it. And you end up eating a lot more. So that's my 2 bits, but yeah.
सर रम में कितने ब्रांड हैं इंडियन के? हाँ?
Oh yeah. India consumes a lot of rum, particularly I think North India, of course it does. Old Monk is something that we already know of. But if you go to south of India consumes huge amounts of rum. Rum and brandy both. What is the difference between rum and brandy? Anyone?
So brandy is a burnt wine.
Wine जला दो brandy बन जाएगी. Yeah, which is the question. What is the difference between a brandy and the rum? Anyone? Brandy and rum? 30 years, yeah. Huh? शेफ को पता है फ्लेवर कहाँ पे कौन सा यूज करना है? You are there, you almost there. So when you're saying brandy is a burnt wine, what is wine made out of? Grapes. So brandy is made out of grapes and rum is made out of? That's the only difference. Yeah? Sorry, your question, तेरा question क्या था मैं भूल गया. What are the brands? So there are a lot of brands in India. There are a lot of brands in India with regards to the rums as well. However, the most popular obviously being Bacardi in India as well. Another interesting fact I'll tell you. Globally, if you see, Bacardi has only a few factories or distilleries wherein they produce. It's the only country in the world where Bacardi has 2 facilities is India. Which is one because of the consumption, second because of Asia Pacific.
Thank you, sir. My question is that as you know that I'm so fond of rum since 2010 or even 8. But a couple of months back, someone told me you should not consume rum because you are reaching to diabetic level. So you should stop taking that and go to whiskey. Is any particular thing is there, or it's just myth which we are following?
So as I said, rum usually has those caramel flavors. So it seems as if it is much more, if you're a diabetic, I would not even suggest go to a whiskey. I'll be frank. Yeah. Also, as I said earlier, what are you drinking with it? What are you eating with it? That matters a lot more. And as it is, I think if you're drinking, drink in moderate consumption, drink responsibly, that's good enough. Yeah. That is also not good. Keep yourself hydrated during the drinks. Guys, you're now growing up. You will be, of course, drinking going forward. Whenever you're drinking, just keep a bottle of water along with it. Keep drinking a lot of water. That doesn't, one, it doesn't give you a hangover next day. Second, it keeps your body intact. It doesn't let you lose the flavors or the fluids of the body. So whenever you're drinking, of course, there will be chances where you are ending up drinking too much. Don't do that. It's not good for you. Enjoy the alcohol rather than getting high out of it. But second, most important, keep a bottle of water along with it. Keep drinking water as well.
Sir, my question is, if I use Smirnoff, which is from Russia, is a vodka, then what can I use for making a good cocktail? Like Smirnoff cocktail, we use soda and some juices, orange juice, real juice. So what can I use for a good cocktail, make good cocktail?
Well, it completely depends on what you eventually want to make. Smirnoff, if you take the basic Smirnoff, which is the classic, then you can do whatever with it because it's neutral as a spirit. But if you want to, if you take, let's say, a Smirnoff green apple twist, then you will have to work towards or on those lines itself. I'll tell you one of the best combinations is actually green apple twist along with Appy Fizz and a little bit of soda. That goes really well. So completely depends on what kind of vodka you're picking. If you're picking a very high-end vodka, be careful of the ingredients. See, the idea when it comes to cocktail, guys, again, very important. You already know the classic cocktails, but going forward, you will be making your own cocktails as well, right? Whenever you're making a cocktail, the idea is to showcase the spirit, not throw it with a lot of ingredients on top. Yeah? So when you let's say, that is the reason we say that one of the best classic cocktails is actually martini. And the reason is because when you drink a martini, you can really taste the spirit. So you have to enhance the spirit, not overburden it with a lot of ingredients on it. Absolutely.
Alright, this is the moment that we've been waiting for. The result announcement is going to happen. We're going to be declaring the awards.
According to me, जब हम मार्टिनी कंजर्व करते हैं तो मार्टिनी कंजर्व करते हैं जब हम तो लाइक वी इन मार्टिनी दे गिव 3 ऑलिव्स, 1 ऑलिव फॉर आप अपने पास्ट में हो, एंड द सेकेंड ऑलिव इज एंजॉय योर प्रेजेंट, एंड द थर्ड ऑलिव इज फॉर फ्यूचर में आप खो. दैट्स लाइक अकॉर्डिंग टू मी थिंग.
What if I am having 5 martinis in the evening? How many past, future and presents would I have? 15. Please.
Is there any particular shelf life for the oak? For the oak?
Very interesting question. Is there any shelf life of the oak? Yes and no. The new oak barrels are getting used for whiskies majorly. The new oak barrels. The new oak barrels are also getting utilized for cognac. See, the entire world of alcoholic beverages is really using each other. Yeah. However, when the bourbon oak gets a little old, so that gets expired for bourbon. Yeah. Then they don't want to use it. Now this one gets used in different areas as well. So as I said, like for sherry, absolutely. But yeah, after a period of time, like wood, देखो उसके अंदर liquid है, liquid भरा हुआ है oak के अंदर. Now 3 years, 6 years, 8 years, you've utilized in one place. Maximum 3 years, 4 years you can utilize in the other place and then it's gone. So, bilkul, absolutely. It starts opening up and then there is a lot of liquid that actually goes inside the oak barrels. If you see the old oak barrels, it is like purane fatte hote na, wherein you see the darare, as you mentioned, you see all the cracks and everything else. That's what starts happening. And then of course the leakages and the angel share starts increasing. So yeah, it definitely has, depending on again, what quality of wood are you using? How tight grain is the wood? Limousine oak would survive for a much longer time than probably a regular oak coming from Brazil.
So my question is that there are a lot of flavored rums and flavored spirits. Like I just saw over here, there's a raspberry flavored vodka, and then Malibu, which is a coconut flavored rum. So at what stage is the flavor infused, and how, like, in what form of the fruit is used to get that flavor? Because it's not very dominant. It's a very subtle flavor. So how is the balancing done?
It completely depends on what flavor are you using and how much do you want it to dominate the particular drink. So for example, technically speaking, juniper and the other botanicals in gin is also a flavor, right? Now either you can steep it along when you're doing the pot still itself, you can have the liquid in the pot and you can throw in all the botanicals so that when you boil the entire liquid, the condensation will happen and the flavor will get infused then and there itself. However, at a later stage also you can do it, that you've made a neutral spirit and now you want to add flavor and kind of blend it well. So both the things can be done. The more elegant or the more expensive method is obviously the first one, wherein you're infusing the flavors at the early stage itself. It is very easy to do, just take the extract of vanilla or a green apple and add it to the liquid. That is very easy to do. So at both the stages you can do the flavoring. Which one is better? This one is more expensive, and usually this one is better because the infusion of flavor is much higher. It's at the liquid level, not at the end level.
Could you explain the difference between liquor and liqueur?
Liquor and liqueur.
Sir, liquor is basically the spirit, and liqueur is flavored spirit.
That's pretty much it. So liquor is, any kind of spirit is liquor. That liqueur, anything that is getting sweetened or different 2.5% by weight, and any more flavorings added to it, that's when we can call it liqueurs. Normally the alcoholic percentage also varies. So for a regular liquor that you would see, whiskey, vodka, rum, is anywhere between 38, 39 to 42, 43. That's the standard globally. But again, newer single malts are coming which are 50, 55% as well and stuff. Liqueurs on the other hand are usually lesser in terms of alcohol content. It could be anywhere between 18 to 20 to 22 to 25% as well.
Why are they served after the meal?
So there is a concept known as aperitif and there is a concept known as digestive. So aperitif is basically that you consume anything before the meal. Normally you would see, and there are some liqueurs which are actually aperitifs as well, that you would consume before a meal. But there are some liqueurs because see, the digestives are supposed to be much more heavier and much more flavorful. It's like having a good coffee after your meal. Yeah. So it's basic whiskey that is taken as a base with a lot of flavors and everything else. It is just to digest the entire meal. Normally, back in the days, most of the botanicals is getting used to make liqueurs, which is very good for your digestion. So most of the liqueur or most of the liquor also was actually made initially for medicinal purposes, and that is the reason we use liqueurs, particularly the digestives, after the meal. So for example, let's say a Baileys, which is a liqueur. Yeah, it is a little sweet and it kind of make you really feel. After a Baileys you don't want to eat anything. So after a good meal it becomes a good dessert. Yeah, but let's say an Aperol or a Campari soda. Now that is something that you want to enjoy pre-meal with maybe a couple of olives or antipastis, and then maybe enter the meal. Yeah. So liqueurs have both the categories, aperitif and digestive. Any other question, guys?
I would like to share one more thing. There is a cocktail which is red nail, as you know, and it is a mixture of liquor. Red nail. Rusty nail. It is basically mixture of liquor and liqueur.
So a cocktail is basically a mixture of 2 or more ingredients, out of which at least one has to be a spirit based. So Rusty nail, as he mentioned, even Negronis for that matter, is a mixture of liquor and liqueurs. Yeah, absolutely. Black Russian. B-52. Scary Nights. What is it? Absolutely, absolutely, absolutely. So basically initially liqueurs started. You could consume liqueur on its own, but then liqueurs was actually to support a lot of cocktails. Like today, if you see that you have got a lot of non-alcoholic options in the cocktails as well. But back in the days, if you really go to the definition of cocktail, it is spirit, it is sugar, and it is bitter. So the bitter actually comes from the liqueurs itself, like a martini, vermouth, or other areas. Any other question, guys? नहीं बैठो अभी. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you. Likewise, sir. Likewise. See you guys. Best of luck. Cool. Any other question, guys? That's about it. Huh? Where is Deepak? No, we are not making any spirit for sure. Cocktails we can do, yeah. Come. We can do cocktails. I don't know. Sorry guys, we are not doing demo because there is no liquor today. हाँ वहाँ पे है ना, यहाँ पे नहीं है. वहाँ पे सिर्फ वाइन्स है ना. No, we are not doing. Monday we are doing a mixology session. That's where we will be doing some mixology as well. Thank you very much, guys. Officially signing off. It is Ankur Chawla. Thank you very much for your patience and listening to us. And sorry for the delay in beginning. Yeah, cool. Any other questions? I'm always a call away. You can contact me online, offline. Yeah. Thank you.